Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and time for our viewer queries. We have a lot of them pouring in on WhatsApp and on our various social media handles. So let's get going with the first query, and this one from Joy Sheila Prema from Tamil Nadu, saying that out of IGL and MGL, which is the best stock to go ahead and buy? Saurabh, IGL or MGL, which one of them do you prefer, and which one you think Joy Sheila should go ahead and buy?
I think expansion plans for IGL looks more promising in terms of the price hike and the margins they are able to the company is expected to hold margins, and in fact with the rise in the prices which they can make, there is always a chance of some incremental growth in the margins, and the expansion plans will drive the future growth. So my take would be that IGL would be a better pick.
Okay, I'm coming back to you on this one, Saurabh. We've got a question from Syed, who's asking about Lakshmi Organic, and he's asking why is it continuously hitting upper circuit? Is there a possibility of the stock going up to 3,000 to 4,000 levels in the long term?
I think good amount of liquidity is chasing, wherever there is, the business looks optimistic. I think people are not minding to put more money on the table despite the huge rise in the valuation. I would not suggest putting fresh money in the stock, but at the same time, I think it is a story which is still looking, promising. The story is promising, but the price catch up is way beyond the fundamentals of the story.
Is coming in from Savalan, saying that he wants to buy 200 shares of KPR Mills and D-Link at current market price for the short to medium term. Kunal, either KPR Mills or D-Link, which one do you think should Mr. Balan go ahead and buy for the short to medium term?
See, I think for both of these stocks, KPR Mills is a stock which has a proven history. It has done exceptionally well in the last 14-15 months, as well as over the last 3 to 4 years as well. The stock has managed to do pretty well. So I think in that sense, KPR Mills would probably have that slight bit of advantage because you are going with the inherent trend being extremely strong on the longer term basis. D-Link, on the other hand, I think is just going through a recovery phase. Stock is trying to juggle back above its 50-day moving average. Still not confirmed the breakout. I would suggest that if you're looking to buy D-Link, then wait for a breakout above 148, which I think could be about the 50-day moving average, and if that happens, you can expect at least a 10% uptick post that in a very quick kind of a fashion. So would suggest the buy on D-Link only above 148.
Stock, we've got Seems Kumari, who's bought at levels of 135, if I'm not mistaken. And she's looking for a short-term technical view. She's got 1,500 shares. Should she hold on?
Alex, you have to repeat the name of the stock. I missed it.
We're talking about Tata Power, bought at levels of 135.
Well, I think you should definitely look to hold on. In fact, I would suggest that why not tweak your time frame from being a very short-term kind of a view to being more medium-term to longer-term kind of a view for Tata Power. I think it's been a quality stock. It's done phenomenally well over the last 4 quarters. And you look at the price uptake from March 2020 lows, I think it's been an exceptional mover. So purely on that sense, I would expect Tata Power to be one of the few charming mid-cap names which can continue to move up higher on a medium to long-term basis. I think that's where you will probably get to unfold a lot of wealth over the longest term kind of a time frame. So would suggest a hold, but I would suggest to tweak your time frame from being very, very short term over here to being at least medium to long term.
This one is from Professor Thomas V. George from Cochin, saying he's asking, is Advanced Enzymes a good long-term bet? If yes, then what's the ideal entry price for this? Kunal, would you be able to answer this one from Professor Thomas on Advanced Enzyme, a good long-term bet? And if yes, on the charts, what sort of an entry should he look at?
See, I think yes, long-term wise, it looks to be attractive because the stock is placed very closer to its 200-day moving average. And I think if I'm not wrong, yesterday also we had a very similar query on Advanced Enzyme. I mentioned one very important point, that the stock has this habit of giving you one single day of strong price uptick, but it is generally not followed up with consistency of price uptick. Like yesterday, you saw the stock doing exceptionally well, moving up into almost 410 from being at 360, 365 odd levels. But then there's no follow through price action today. So if the stock provides a follow through price action, then we can expect that it should start to trend up higher from a medium to long term basis. So you can start nibbling at current levels, but then I would suggest that wait for another level of breakout. If that happens, I think that's where you should look to add up further on advanced enzymes.
Saurabh, NMDC was bought at 176 by Purna. She's got 650 shares. She's wondering whether she should average at the current price of close to 150.
I think she can go ahead and average the stock because I think the iron ore prices are likely to go up. It's just the some bit of correction which is coming into the market, and China, some economic data suggesting that China is somewhat slowing. But I think if you look at from the long-term perspective, from the 1, 2 year, 3 year perspective, a lot of capital expenditure going into from different governments. In India also, it is expected that the real estate infrastructure activity will get further stimulate. It will be stimulated. So in that sense, I think it can play out well in the long term. So my suggestion is that she can average.
This one is from Ashutosh Joshi. He's saying that he's bought about 49 shares of Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank during IPO at a price of 303 rupees per share. Today, he's rather saying now the stock is trading around 200 rupees. What should he do? Saurabh, a lot of news flow around this particular counter. We've seen it rally in the last 2 days also. Do you think that it merits that Ashutosh stays put with this particular holding as of now?
I think some questions were asked to the management. They said they did not deny the fact, and they said that they are looking for the opportunities. I mean, you have to sell the news. I mean, he's making good amount of money. I think he should take money from the table. My advice would be to book profits.
Okay, we've got a question on advanced enzymes. There's updates in terms of news-based developments, but it's a stock that has been in focus. Nino has gotten at levels of 230, and he was thinking of exiting Kunal at levels of 500. He's wondering whether he should reconsider the target at this juncture.
I think closer to 450 or 480 range, I think could be a good range where you can look out to book your short-term profits. But again, the question is that how, whether you would want to just about capitalize on the short-term uptick for advanced enzyme, or whether you'd want to hold on to it from a longer-term view, because the long-term breakouts have still not happened, frankly, for advanced enzyme. The high which the stock made in 2016 was just around this 460, 470 mark. And after a 3 year of downtrend where the stock came back towards 125 from those 450 levels, it just managed to come back closer to that breakout point. So long term wise, the breakout is still yet to happen for advanced enzyme. So I think it all depends on the kind of time frame and the investor is looking at, because he's bought at very attractive levels. If you can hold on and let the charts play out, or let the patterns play out, if the breakout happens, then you could look at a multi-year uptick for advanced enzyme as well.
Right, a lot of viewer queries actually coming on advanced enzymes of late actually. Next one is from P. Vijay Lakshmi. She's a homemaker from Chennai. She's asking us about long-term view on Castrol India. She's bought this particular counter, about 200 shares at 150 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she can continue to hold on to it, sell, or average at current price. Kunal, what's your take on Castrol India? Vijay Lakshmi is definitely, she's saying that she's a long-term investor. So does it make sense to hold on and average at current market price for her?
Well, I would suggest to look out to maybe try and exit the stock, maybe another 5-7 rupees higher from current levels, which should probably get very close to your buying price. I think that should be a good level where you can look to exit. And I think latch on to some other quality mid-cap auto anch name. So I think something like Motherson Sumi, for example, looks very attractive to me on the charts. From tire space, Bal Industries or Apollo Tires, it looks very attractive. You have Tata Motors as well. from a longer term trajectory, which can give you stronger returns on the long term chart. So I think I would suggest that you have to make a switch from Castrol to either of these names.
Okay, let's take a question about Nelco then. We've got Sukanya who's asking about whether it can be bought at the current price. I'm not going to take it as a technical question, more as a fundamental view. Saurabh, what do you say about this particular counter? Would you suggest a fresh entry?
Are you asking about National Aluminium?
No, I'm talking about Nelco, Nelco, Nelco.
I would not be able to give guidance on that. The stock is not in our coverage.
Okay, I'll try and take a view then, Kunal, from you. We're talking about Nelco Limited. Do you have a view on the charts?
Well, absolutely. I think it's been a phenomenal breakout for Nelco, Alex, from the levels of, 150, 170, 175 in March 2020. It's done exceptionally well. From there, it's now moved up to almost 550, 555, where the stock is trading. Now, what has happened is in the process of this breakout in the last 14, 15 months, it's completed a huge breakout, almost a 13 or a 14-year breakout from 2007, 2008 levels. And I think it's more of a rounding pattern breakout. Now, we discussed this earlier as well with many of the stocks like JSW Energy, that how rounding pattern breakouts are. They are very potent in terms of formation, and every new phase of bull market or a new bull market, you typically see these rounding pattern stocks typically giving you strong breakouts, and they're going into multi-years of uptrend. So I think it looks very good from a longer term perspective. And if you are holding the stock assumingly, then I think you should continue to hold on to it for at least the next 1 to 2 years.
This one is from Manohar from Andhra Pradesh. He wants to know about NHPC. He's been holding 500 shares, which is purchased at 25 rupees per share. He's saying he personally believes that it's a longer term bet and he should look to accumulate some more, but he wants the expert view. So what's your take, Saurabh? NHPC, does it make sense for Manohar to hold it for the longer term? Make sense to accumulate right now?
I think it makes sense to accumulate stocks. I think it is a very good stock for the long term. Despite the growth that the company is achieving, I think it is a good play for dividend yield also. And, every year you get 2-3 swings and you can make easily 20-30% in those 2-3 swings apart from the dividend yield. So I think you can buy some more stock.
Speaking of swings, we've got Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, which is the next question. We've got Sagar, who's looking for a technical view, Kunal. He's bought 1,000 shares at 4,600 levels for a swing trade. He's asking if we should exit at the current levels, or is it likely to hit 5,200 in the next few days?
So I would say, I think it's a very interesting query because, the stock has rallied from those 4,500-ish levels to 5,000-ish or 4,950 where the stock is trading. And at current juncture, the stock is coinciding with both the averages. So the 50-day moving average, which is sloping downwards, and the 200-day moving average, which is absolutely flat. So the stock is coinciding with both these averages. Now, typically these are inflection points for stocks, and you see, a specific turnaround happening into the stock prices. I would suggest that you, book out maybe 50% or slightly more profits over here, and then wait out for the next 3, 4, 5 days. I think if the stock continues to consolidate and doesn't go past or beyond above 5,000 levels, then there could be a concern that the stock may go through one more round of correction on the downside. So I would suggest at least a partial profit booking for Dr. Reddy, since you've bought at lower levels and assuming it's a short-term trade.
Ashok Kumar, and he has 200 shares of Alembic Pharma, which is purchased at 980 rupees per share. He's saying he's a long-term investor, wants a technical and fundamental view, whether he needs to average at current market price. But I will get the fundamental view on Alembic Pharma. How does it look, Saurabh? Ashok Kumar has 200 shares, which is purchased at 980 rupees per share. So does it make sense to average also at current market price for him?
Remains for the company from the US market front. I think there is a problem with respect to the growth in the sales, and also there is some kind of a pressure in the margins. That is why the stock is underperformer for the last few quarters. I think you have to wait some more time. I think till the more clarity comes in terms of how the margins are likely to pan out, and how the business looks like the export markets looks for the company. Till then, I think it is some kind of a contrarian bet. You can hold to your investment, but I would not suggest to add more.
Okay, the next one is also for you, Saurabh. We've picked up about the PharmEasy IPO. Of course, it's all in the works right now, and details are still awaited. There is the expectation that a significant value will be kept on the table for investors. But really, the question is from Saumitra, who's talking about Thyrocare. What happens to investors of Thyrocare? Is there a possibility of reverse merger at some stage? Of course, we don't know those details right now, but assuming that PharmEasy does come up and get listed, what should a Thyrocare investor bear in mind?
I think Thyrocare investor will definitely get benefit of the the existing Thyrocare business and the merger with the PharmEasy, because there is a lot of interest with the technology platform, the new age fintech type companies, and the merger would unveil the whole gamut with respect to the healthcare industry, and eventually I think the shareholders will get benefited out of it.
Okay, this next query is coming in from Sean Fernandez from Mumbai. He's saying that he has 1,000 shares of Untitled Limited, which he's purchased at 584 rupees per share. He's a short-term investor, so he wants to know, should he go ahead and book profits? Kunal, Sean Fernandez, 1,000 shares of Untitled, which he's purchased at 584 rupees per share. What should he do?
I think you can look to book out profits over here. I think the stock seems to be going to a consolidation. So probability of the stock coming down towards 580, 585 could be pretty much high. I would suggest to book out profits.
Quick question, Kunal, not related to any stock, but if you can give us, we've got RJ who's asking about which indicators should a long and short-term investor look at when they're looking at technical analysis. Of course, there's probably a long list that you have, but maybe the top 1 or 2 or 3 things that come to mind.
It's like summarizing the 15 years of experience, 16 years of experience in probably 16 seconds. Very difficult, Alex, to just give a plain answer. But then one of the indicators which we typically use on a regular basis is RSI, or relative strength index. Now it has a lot of fungibility, so there's a lot of versatility which you can attach towards this indicator. You can use it from a short-term time frame like in intraday trading as well, and you can use this indicator even from long-term aspects as well, which gives you some stronger indications of trends. So I think that's one of the key indicators which I think majority of the technical analysts do follow. So I think that's one indicator which the viewer can definitely look at.
Alright, this one is from Ramana from Hyderabad. At current price, can she look to buy a BSE or IRCTC? Which of these counters look good, Kunal, currently for somebody wants to go ahead and buy?
IRCTC has done exceptionally well in the stock. It just doesn't seem to be looking back. I think every day you see the stock gaining up higher, moving up 4%, 5%. I think that's been the average performance for IRCTC last, I think 10-15 trading sessions. But I think BSE also holds a lot of potential. The stock which had a literally like an unstoppable rally towards 1400 has gone through a screeching halt. Now it's consolidating. Current levels of 1220, 1235 for BSE. I think seems to be a much better risk reward buy as compared to IRCTC.
Okay, we've got Aditya Kulkarni who's asking about Trident Limited, and this is a long-term query. So Saurabh, I'm coming to you. Do you have coverage on the stock? If so, would you suggest a fresh entry?
Companies are expected to do well considering the export growth they are seeing in the US and European market. Trident is no exceptions. The other stocks which are doing well is Welspun India. I think it is a good. The future looks promising, especially the next 2 quarters, and I think the money can be made.
Okay, this one is from Sunny from Goa. He's saying he has 50 shares of IFB Industries, which he's purchased at 906 rupees per share. He had bought it as a festive season play, so he wants to know at what level should he book profits. He's saying they have good product line, but I am doubtful about the company's fundamentals. Kunal, what's your take on IFB Industries? At what levels do you think Sunny should go ahead and book profits?
I'm not sure, of course, of the fundamentals of the stock, but then purely on the charts, I think it seems to be now a stock which is evolving into a good trend for itself. Now, the stock had a rally from 900 levels towards 1140. I think in the from the end of August towards start of September month, just about in a couple of weeks back. So I think in that sense, it seems to be a stock which is getting to a recovery mode. 3 days or 4 days of straight correction, but then somehow I believe that it could just be a mean retracement which has happened for IFP industry. So I would suggest a hold, and maybe today's low could be a stop loss for your trade around 1035, 1037, and that should be a good stop loss for your trade. If the stock doesn't break this level, then I believe there is a high probability it can come back towards 1140, 1150 plus as well.
Kunal, do you have a view on Kelton Tech? If you do, can you please share the short to medium term perspective? Meenakshi has gotten in at levels of 49. The stock is currently trading at 54.35, up as much as I think 11% in trade today.
Apologies, Alex, I don't track the stocks, so won't be able to offer any comment.
Okay, then I'll take the next question to you. Satya is asking a question about CDSL. And he's asking about the next 3 months. What are the prospects for the stock on the charts?
It looks very attractive. In fact, I think a couple of days back as well, we had a very similar query. And I was making a comparison that both CDSL and BSC, they have done pretty well for themselves in the last 14-15 months. And what this tells you is that these stocks are starting off a very strong long-term uptrend for themselves. Now, when you typically are into such a kind of a phase, you should use these 10-15% corrections on an average for these stocks from their previous swing highs as good starting points. So long-term wise, they look very attractive. But I think price-wise or in terms of strategy, I think what you should be doing is you should use corrections 10 to 15% as good buying opportunities or averaging opportunities.
All right, let's begin with the rapid fire. Both of our experts are well aware of the format, so let's get going with the queries then. This one is from Arun from Bangalore. He's saying he has 200 shares of Sun TV, which he's purchased at 500 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold or go ahead and sell. Kunal?
Well, I would suggest to exit Sun TV and maybe look out for another 10 rupees of profit. You need to sell it on rallies. I sense that the stock is consolidated and people are resistant kind of thing.
Okay, Ajit's got a question. Aurobindo Pharma is the stock, Saurabh. He's got in levels of 735 he's asking whether he should average at the current price.
I would not suggest, considering the problems the company is facing. My take would be no.
Ramesh from Mysore is asking which one is better to enter at current levels, Oil India or BPCL. What's your take, Saurabh?
I think BPCL is looking good to me comparison to Oil India.
Okay, Tejas Network is the question. Arvind wants to know short term. Kunal, would you enter for the short term?
At current levels, if the stock dips towards 350, that should be taken as a good investment.
This is K. Parthasati writing to us, long-term outlook for Bandhan Bank. He wants to know, he's bought at around 305 rupees per share. Can he continue to hold on or should look to sell this particular counter? What's your take, Saurabh?
I think the fundamentals are not looking that great for the Bandhan Bank. Instead, I would advise to move your investment to ICICI Bank.
Okay, Pranav is asking about Indiabulls Housing. 1500 shares is what he has. He's looking for the long-term view. Are you positive, Saurabh?
See, things are moving good for the company. I mean, one can hold this.
Okay, this one is from Sudhir from Trivandrum. He's saying he's holding 72 shares of Godrej Agrovet at 655 rupees per share. Should he continue to hold on to it, Kunal?
I would definitely advise to hold on to it and look out to average if the stock dips towards 600.
One stock that you would buy without the fear of any stop loss for the very long term.
Real estate DLF.
Alright, then on that note, finally we are done with the rapid fire segment as well as the queries. Thank you Kunal as well as Saurabh for joining us on the show, giving us a take on Z as well as talking about which stocks should our viewers look at. And with that, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But stay tuned, lots lined up for you after this break, so don't go anywhere.